Hi, everybody. Russ and the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe. My association with the lovely guys at Untuck It. We bring to you the David Moyes press conference for the Tottenham Hotspur game. It's finished the broadcast section finished about 20 minutes ago, half an hour ago. So we're bringing you the latest of what he said. And then later on, John T. Coleman from Football London, he'll be giving us his synopsis. We love a synopsis on a Friday of the game. It's of the press conference itself. So obviously both the broadcast section and the embargo section. So we'll give his views because he's there, and he'll be bringing that around 4 or 5 o'clock ish. So I wanted to bring with you the latest of what Moyes has said in the press conference. Let's start with team news because that's what everyone wants to know. You see the thumbnail. In terms of the Tottenham game, Lucas Paqueta is not going to be available. Naif has got a chance, but we're not sure yet if we're going to make it. Skamaka is back, but he's nowhere near ready. I might get him some minutes, but a minimum. So that to me shows that Skamaka will be on the bench. Paqueta may be on the bench potentially. He says he's not available, but you never know with Moyes. Moyes said that Tilo Kehrer wasn't going to be playing last week, and he played 90 minutes. So anything is possible with Moyes, as we well know. But he's quite adamant that Paqueta's out. Again, has a chance or starts. Anyway, I'll give you my predicted 11 tomorrow or Sunday, probably Sunday actually, before we can find out the actual 11 that Moyes puts out on the field. But I take everything for a grain of salt that Moyes says, to be honest. But he does seem quite adamant about Paqueta when asked on several occasions about it. When asked about Maxwell Cornet, he said, we're hoping to have him back next Monday. Whether that's training, I don't know, which sort of goes against what we were led to believe that he's meant to be back in reporting to Rush Green today. So maybe they're giving over the weekend. Maybe there's no point in him coming today and just come on Monday, innit? Just come on Monday instead. It's slightly strange on there for Moisey. Then asked about Danny Ings. He said, and obviously, got injured and coming back and that type of thing. He says, we brought him here to get some goals and he's had a bit of a knee injury and we're looking after him as best we can. We're looking forward to getting him in and scoring goals. So does that mean he's injured or just in reference? I don't know about that one. Asked about injuries in general. That was a lot of the questions were asked about injuries and how we're coping with all these injuries. And, he was quite sort of candid with what he said. He just said it's not been great news getting those boys injured. Last season, we had a brilliant injury record. I don't know whether that's because of 60 games last year, 60 the year before. It's certainly more to do with the new players. Paqueta has an injury, Naif, Zuma, Dawson. We've had a difficult period with injuries, but Craig Dawson obviously is no longer with his parish. And that's a really interesting point. I think myself or Anton will have a bit of a rant about injuries. I think probably next week, but it is a definite thing, isn't it? It does seem to be so West Ham. I was talking to a bunch of West Ham fans yesterday, and we're talking about everything. That sort of phrase, it's so West Ham, and Danny Ings, for example, the guy hasn't been injured for 18 months. He literally walks on the pitch for that game, for his debut, and he gets injured. That's so West Ham, and it's like we buy all these players and they get injured. That's so West Ham. And it's sort of this catchphrase. I might actually make a t-shirt with it on. That's so West Ham. Or a mug. Maybe we'll get a mug. But with all the injuries that's happening, it just one or two, but when it's 4, it's always 4 or 5, isn't it? It's always at least 3 or 4, injuries are happening all the time with us. When will we have a fit again squad? I wonder if, don't know, because Zuma's on his way back. There's no question, and I only asked about Zuma, when Zuma's going to be back either. Whether that might be in the embargo section, I don't know. But with Cornet back, say he comes back in 2 weeks' time, maybe not the Forest game, maybe the game after, we might have a fully fit squad. Maybe. Who knows? Asked about our opponents on Sunday. He said he's fully aware of the rivalry between the supporters, and we're looking to give the West Ham fans as many good occasions as we can. So hopefully we can do that on Sunday. And then asked more specifically about Spurs. He said, I don't think there is ever a good time to play Tottenham. We'll try and show the form we have been recently. We had a look at the game. I think Tottenham were better in the first half. They've kept on those levels for most of the season. It's never a good time to play Spurs, but Spurs hate playing us. They hate playing us because it's the game that we just form goes out the window when it comes to West Ham v Spurs from a West Ham perspective. The fans hate us playing them. If you ask a Spur fan, obviously Arsenal, but next one is West Ham, I guarantee, in terms of the sides they hate playing against. But obviously, one of the big talking points will not be obviously the West Ham bench, but the Spurs bench. And obviously, Antonio Conte won't be in the dugout for the game. He was asked a few questions about Antonio and about managers' health in general, and he says it's a big miss for any team. He'll be a big miss, but there are some really good players. I've enjoyed managing many good sides over many years. He's an elite manager. I've got great respect for him. It's really difficult if you're a manager. The one place you want to be is in the dugout with the team. During COVID, I found it incredibly hard watching the games from the flat I was in at the time. He also told me about sometimes having to sit back and learn from it. I'm sure Antonio won't want to be at home. We're wishing him well, and we do wish him well because he's a human being and he has health problems, and unfortunately the pressures of football meant he's probably got iller than he should have done. To be honest, he was told do not do anything for 14 days. Okay, he was back in the dugout within 7 days, and unsurprisingly, when he came back to Milan when they lost to Milan in the Champions League, he had his post-op checkup and they told him to stay there. So anyway, but in terms of managers' health in general, because that does open up the question. He goes, we're very fortunate at the LMA, the League Managers Association. We've got really good support, both physical, mental health. We're all screened regularly. We're all fitness tested regularly, and we're all ready. Really great for it. Football management is a great job, but there's always stress. I feel good, but we've all got to look after our health. Very, very true. Kevin, you got your health. What have you got? But what Tottenham have is, unfortunately, a player who's their top leading goal scorer of all time in terms of Harry Kane. Asked about how to stop Harry Kane and obviously the challenges of having Harry Kane as your opponent. He says, I've tried lots of times. He's difficult to play against. We will do our best to contain him. And maybe we will do our best to contain him if Aguerd is back in the side. And as we said, he's given a chance. There's a chance for Naef to play. That to me means he's playing. That to me. I mean, and again, I'll revert back to last week. Tilo Kehrer is not playing. He's not going to make the squad. He played 90 minutes the following day. So for me, anything he says is a lie. Anything he says could be misconstrued and could be smoke and mirrors. And so, yeah, we just report what's been said. It'd be interesting to hear from John T later on in terms of the tone that Moyes says these things, because actually, I think sometimes it's the way you say them rather than read them off the page. So, in terms of we go into the game on back of good form, we've lost once since the turn of the year. Granted, it's only a month and a half, but it's an upturning considering where we were the previous sort of half of the season. Asked about our recent form, he said, I'm taking in that last year I was trying to win games, not draw. Was I happy with a draw last week? Yes, on both occasions, obviously Newcastle and Chelsea, but I want to win the games. We've started to score more goals, started to be more resilient. We don't want draws, we want wins. And as I was saying in the lunchtime show today, someone was asking me about whether they thought West Ham would stay up and do we have the bottle? And actually, I think we do. And then I think Budgie asked a question about, draws. If we got another draw on Sunday, would the fan base be happy? For me, these 3 games are games which no one really anticipated us getting anything out of. So even if we come out of it with another draw against Spurs, that's 3 points that a lot of people didn't think we was going to have. For me, it's about next week. It's about that Forest game. That's critical. It's about beating the teams around you and getting 3 points. Not a draw, doesn't help anyone, but beating these teams. So it's about going into the Spurs game. Be great to win a game in terms of momentum. Be fantastic. As I said, I was talking to some guys from the club yesterday, and they were saying how sharp Antonio is looking. He says he's looking the sharpest he's looked for a long, long time. And he has an extra step, bounce this stuff. I think Gemma in the live chat during the live show said something like Antonio's got about 6 goals and 1 assist in 12 games. Loves playing against Spurs. And I think Antonio, he'll be up for this game. He'll be up for this challenge, that's for sure. Particularly Spurs with a midfield, which doesn't include Basuma, which doesn't include Bentancur, Ryan, Sessegnon's out. We know Lloris is out as well. So he'll be chomping at the bits, particularly with the likes of Skelmacher, who probably will be on the bench by the sounds of it, and probably Danny Ings will be on the bench as well. So, there's firepower options there as well. It's an opportunity for him to... It's these games, and Anton said it the other day, it's these games that Antonio sort of turns up for, and you're thinking, why can't he just be like this sort of beast mode all the time? I just think literally it's just... it just seems some teams just click in terms of opposition. You look back at people against us, Romelu Lukaku, Callum Wilson, these guys, Glenn Murray, these guys just turned up for the West Ham games. And it's just a weird thing that some teams just work well in as terms of opposition. But asked about our form going into the game as well. Obviously, we only picked up one defeat. He goes, I don't think there was a bad atmosphere when we were losing. Far from it. Jared is getting back in the goals. Mickey's improved. Lucas Paqueta has settled, and Naoth has looked good. And I think that last point is key for me. That's our upturn of form, Naoth Aguerd. I think that's it. I think having a strong centre back there makes a massive difference, and hopefully he'll be back. Hopefully he'll start against Spurs because we'll need him. They've still got Kane, they've still got Son, two very, very difficult players to play against. They've still got Kuleski, they've still got some really strong players, and can pose a real threat. So, as I said, it'd be interesting to get your views on my selected 11, my predicted 11, when that's released on Sunday morning. But anyway, and that's it. As I said, we'll be back later on. John T will give us a quick video, which we'll post up just as a straight video of straight outside the car park at Rush Green, and get his views from the sort of the broadcast press conference and the embargo section as well. And that's it. Take care. Stay safe. Stay warm. Stay humble. And we'll see you guys very, very soon. Ta-ta, my friends.